NoSo Countdown number 8 for the top Royal Rumble competitors. My name is Richie Mars. I'm here with my sometimes co-host, my favorite co-host on my podcast, Wrestling Retold and Relived with Richie Mars, Mr. Sethsational. Seth, how we doing today?
Doing good. How you doing, Richie?
Doing well. And this is one that's near and dear to our hearts because we've seen this man, and arguably his greatest Royal Rumble appearance, coming in out at number 30 in the 2008 Royal Rumble. But let me go through Mr. Cena's stats of why he cracks the top 10. He has 2 Royal Rumble wins, one in 2008 and another one in 2013. He was in part of 5 Final Fours, 25 eliminations. His peak year, according to Ryan himself, is 2008. Total time in the Royal Rumble matches across all of them that he's been in, 2 hours, 48 minutes, 39 seconds. Total Rumbles with 8, and his worst year, arguably, according to Ryan, is 2004. Now, do any of those stats pop up at you? Is there something that you didn't expect to see there, Mr. Seth?
You know, it's funny. I actually thought he was in more Rumbles, but when you think about it, I mean, he main evented so many in a championship match. He took him obviously out of the Battle Royal, but, before I started looking at these stats, I actually thought, only 8? That's it? Only 8 Rumbles.
That's exactly what I thought too, because he was, again, the face that ran the place.
Yeah.
You would think that he would be in more Rumble matches, but no, he was always consistently in that championship picture, whether it was winning it from Edge in 2006, whether it was that fantastic last man standing match against Umaga in 2007. He was always in that championship mix, which was also very surprising with his other Rumble appearances, because his first Rumble in 2003, that was also a Rumble where he was wearing jeans, just regular jeans, with the Astros jersey.
I think he rapped his way to the ring in that one, too.
He did, and that was his earliest entry number ever at number 18. And that was another thing that shocked me, was John Cena's all of his entrant numbers were later on in the Rumble, where halfway of the Rumble was already done. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, he never was never was in the first half of the Rumble. I again, if you would have asked me true or false, I would have gotten that one wrong. I would have thought he at least had 1 year where he would have started closer to number 10, but hey, what do I know?
Now, of course, we have to jump right into the Royal Rumble, probably his greatest Royal Rumble appearance of all time, and that was one that we were both in, the Madison Square Garden show in Royal Rumble 2008, where he came out at number 30. Now, what were your remember of this? Because when I was there, I was shocked. First, I thought he came out at number 29 because Hornswoggle Finley got disqualified, and they didn't notify us that Finley got disqualified, and Hornswoggle went under the rope. So I thought there was still another entrant after Cena. Yeah, just John Cena appearing out of nowhere.
Had no clue. Yeah.
Because he tore his pectoral muscle, and he was going to be out for, I think they said about 8 months.
8 months.
Was the timeline. And he came back in 3.5. So what was your reaction to seeing Cena coming out?
It totally surprised me. I had no idea. We're sitting in the crowd. My friends, my dad, we're all sitting there like, what's going on? And who's going to come out? And yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. John Cena wasn't, no one was saying Cena, because Cena's hurt. So we're trying to, in our heads, try to figure out like who's coming out to this. And, we put some ideas together, but clearly none of us were right. We had anything from maybe, an old WCW guy to a veteran to nobody thought Cena. When he came out with his, his music, we're like, ah!
I remember the energy of the crowd too, where initially it was excitement. I remember it being so loud, probably the loudest I've ever heard a crowd in. And then immediately when he hit the ring, the boos just started raining down. So it's just like almost like business as usual.
Now, again, and we all know who, my favorite is always, I'm always a Triple H guy.
Yep.
And, I'll make the argument that Triple H's return at the Garden is the loudest Garden ovation of all time. Mm-hmm. But then there's Triple H, in the ring, and I'm sitting there going, oh, no. I'm like, Triple H is going to end up getting tossed out by Cena now, because you don't bring Cena out at number 30 after that injury to have him get tossed out. I'm like, there we go again. Triple H to get thrown out by Cena. So
if it makes you feel any better, Mr. Seth, Triple H went over on Cena later that year at Night of Champions, in a very good match too.
Very true.
But again, that's Night of Champions. This is the Rumble. Let's see what other John Cena stats we have over here. Now, the most amount of eliminations was the 2011 Royal Rumble with 7 competitors. And of course, the 2011 Royal Rumble is notable for 40 men at the same time. And most of John Cena's eliminations in that match was against the new Nexus. And this surprised me that John Cena only got max of 7 eliminations in a Rumble. For a guy who people say we're getting shoved down our throats, you'd expect him to have more, but he would pretty much average out around 4 to 5 eliminations per Rumble. Are you surprised that Cena was not more of a dominant Royal Rumble competitor, or because since he would always come out in the second half, he didn't have that opportunity?
I would have expected Cena to have more eliminations. That number definitely surprised me. 3-4 eliminations, for a guy, headliner, main event of the company at the time, the face of the place. I would think, he would have had definitely more eliminations. But at the same time, not listen, battle royals aren't everybody's strong suit.
Yeah. But he seems to be a pretty notable Rumble competitor because he was in, like I said before, 5 Final Fours, winning 2 of them.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that infamous Royal Rumble in 2005, where Batista and John Cena, it was almost too good to be true, where both of them went over the top rope a la Bret Hart, Lex Luger.
Yep.
And both of Batista and John Cena hit the floor at the same time,
Couldn't have planned it better.
looking to mass confusion, and Vince McMahon not tearing just one, but both of his quads at the same time to restart the match. Now, this was probably John Cena's, I don't want to say breakout Rumble performance, but this was the one where you were thinking, all right, they're definitely going with this guy.
Yeah.
Now, did this Rumble in general make you look at John Cena a little bit differently since he's getting that push? Because this was the first time we're actually kind of seeing that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's in there in the final 2 with Batista. Batista's a beast. I was more, for me, I was more confused when Vince came down. Like, what's Vince coming down for? Is he restarting it? Is he legit mad that something got messed up? They played that off perfectly. I don't, whatever was supposed to be, it fooled me.
And then you were like, why is he sitting down in the ring for such a
Well,
long
that was
period?
We're like, dude, why is Vince sitting down and yelling at people and nobody's helping him up? Not one person walked over to him, put out a hand and said, hey, I'll help you up. He's lying down and he's doing this to everybody, as if he's still, dude, he's still in character, probably in so much pain. Dude, the show must go on. So, yeah, that's definitely right. I'd say, listen, if the one we were at most notable for him, this definitely was controversial. Biggest impact. He definitely was an impact player that night. So
yeah, and this was how much of a wrestling nerd I was as a child. Still am to this day. That I did the slow down feature on the DVD to see who actually hit the ground first, and Batista actually hit the ground first with both feet touching the ground. And John Cena, you could see it in a frame. John Cena's sneaker will hit a millisecond after Batista. So technically, if you want to get technical, John Cena won the 2005 Royal Rumble. But again, the referee's decision is final. But another Rumble win that we have to talk about with Cena, we talked about 2008. Let's talk about 2013.
Okay.
Now, do you think a very important one, because it was the twice in a lifetime that led to John Cena going against The Rock for the WWE Championship. Now, as we know in wrestling, like some people think predictability is bad, other people think predictability is good, depending on the story. Was this Rumble match too predictable in your opinion?
This is at a time where, if you notice, they were repeating main events, every year and giving us a rematch. This is the time where we were getting, 2 years in a row of Shawn and The Undertaker, 2 years in a row of Triple H and The Undertaker. Now here we are with The Rock and Cena. How are we going to get a rematch for these two? I'm not going to lie. When the match first started, Cena winning wasn't, the one I had picked. But at the same time, when it was all said and done, it makes sense. Rock just won the championship. The thing is, too, if you remember, if you go back, I think there was a lot of anger too that Rock was winning the championship because that he's a part timer and how could they do this to CM Punk and not put CM Punk versus Cena? But let's be realistic, we've seen CM Punk. We've
Mm.
seen Cena. You know, the money match was Rock Cena 2, just like Rock in a main event this year would be a money match. So,
Don't do this. Don't do this right now.
but at the same time, it was leading to a huge WrestleMania. You know, not every sequel is as good as the original.
Mhm.
You know, that definitely was the first. I think their first match was definitely the better one.
Yeah.
But you know, predictability. I don't think it was the most predictable of the Rumbles. I think there were other ones that were probably more predictable, but it definitely was up there.
Now let's go on. We got to the best of the best with John Cena. Now we got the worst of the worst. Being probably his first 2 Rumbles being in 2003, 2004. And here's the deal with this. This was the rise of the Doctor of Thugonomics character. Eliminations at 0. In 2003, he lasted 20 minutes. And in 2004, he lasted 7 minutes, 37 seconds. And a lot of people don't remember this. When Cena got tossed over the top rope by the Big Show, Cena actually injured his knee. If you saw on the replay, I think it was his patella tendon probably got like stretched out a little bit. And if you watch on those old Don't Try This at Home DVDs, you could see that moment in slow motion as well. Now, Seth, I want your opinion on this. Which one? We know the time 2003 was obviously better than 2004, but his moments in the match of 2004, do you think that outweighs 2003 where he was kind of bumping and feeding at that time?
So, I mean, it depends how you want to look at it. I mean, I look at it like, you know, these guys get a spot in the Rumble strategically for a reason. You know, and Cena was given at number 28 spot in 2004. Are we led to believe that John Cena's got a chance to main event WrestleMania that year? I was always a fan of the Doctor of Thugonomics myself, but you know, again, he's sitting there in the finals, and he's in there with the Big Show. So I look at the amount of star power that he was in there with, and I kind of have to agree, man. I think 2004 probably was the bigger year.
And let's talk about his other Rumble
Yeah.
appearances that we haven't talked about right now, and that being the 2010 and the 2018, 2011 Royal Rumbles. So the 2010 one, I think, is a pretty underrated year for John Cena in the Rumble match because he was kind of in the mix with Shawn Michaels, and of course, Shawn Michaels was having that fantastic story, trying to get to The Undertaker, and John Cena was, again, one of those big guys who was trying to win the Rumble, a very viable contender to main event WrestleMania when Cena was all over the main event scene. And they really did bump and feed for a lot of guys that were entering that Rumble. I remember Jack Swagger came in. He did a couple of things. Yoshitatsu, Shelton Benjamin, Kofi Kingston. All those guys were getting a chance to shine with these 2 veterans of the ring. Did you consider Cena at this time like the veteran role, or do you think he was still kind of peak main event John Cena kind of guy?
I think he's still peak main event, right? I don't think he's passing the torch in 2010. He's still main eventing all the time. He's still winning championships. You know, I forgot 2010 was that Edge?
Yes.
Edge won that one. So, you know, again, it's, you know, you look at the guys that Cena's in the ring with, and they're all main eventers. I don't look at him at this time period as anything other than one of the main eventers as well too. It's still the Cena era.
And now let's fast forward to 2011, and he gets eliminated by The Miz, who was not even in the Rumble match itself. And a funny trivia note on this match, it's actually the most viewed TikTok that I have with over 100K views. Thank you very much, TikTok community. That John Cena was supposed to eliminate Alex Riley, and then that's when The Miz would dump him out. But Alex Riley accidentally got eliminated because he didn't hold on to the ropes. So John Cena had to communicate with the referee to formulate a new plan with A-Rye coming back out and The Miz dumping him out. Now, was it a foregone conclusion since The Miz came in and eliminated John Cena that this was going to be your WrestleMania 27 main event?
WrestleMania main event. Yeah, listen, that was a year, and we were just talking about this. So many years, you know, where you don't realize that he's only in 8 Rumbles. Like this one right here, leading into probably one of the most uneventful WrestleManias. You know, when you think about that WrestleMania that year, you had Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler, you know, as a featured match. You had Cena and Miz in the main event, but I think we remember that main event more because The Rock was the host and he got involved.
And Miz was concussed too.
Yeah. And Miz, that was the year Miz cashed in on Randy Orton. I wouldn't consider 2011 that year as a glory year.
Yeah, and let's go to probably a glory year in terms of Rumble matches, because I think this is one of the best Rumble matches of all time of recent memory, is the 2018 Rumble
Yeah,
match.
definitely.
And this is what we were talking about, John Cena being in that veteran role. I think this was his final Rumble match to this date, and this was probably what cemented him as being, all right, this is a changing of the guard, because the previous month he lost to Roman Reigns at No Mercy. A lot of people thought that match would happen at a bigger stage, but we got No Mercy. Turned out well. Good passing of the torch.
And that
And
was
then,
yeah. Go ahead.
and then Cena wanted to find his path to WrestleMania, and this is where it started. And we had that cool stare off with the newer generation with Shinsuke, Roman, and Finn against John Cena, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. So we had a little bit of a changing of the guard in this match as well. Do you think this was a good Rumble match performance to end the John Cena Rumble match career?
This is definitely, compared to the one you mentioned before, this is definitely the changing of the guard one. This is definitely the passing the torch. I liked it. This was going into the was that 34 in New Orleans?
Yes.
This is the one where we have a match for Cena, and Cena's sitting in the crowd the whole time,
mm-hmm.
Waiting for waiting for somebody to come and fight him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I thought it was a good one. I thought they did a very good job. Cena came in that year pretty late. He, did his thing, hit his signature moves, and the stare down with the older generation and the newer guys, and I had no problem with it.
Now we're going to see which Rumble match victory holds more weight, the 2008 or the 2013. Which one do you think was more pivotal in John Cena's career?
We have the 2008 one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And all right, so basically the one where he's younger versus the one where he's going in to face The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me?
Two big moments for completely different reasons. With the 2008 one, it was about the moment that itself, because John Cena actually used that Rumble win to face Randy Orton at No Way Out instead of WrestleMania, and he then had to fight his way back into WrestleMania, which he would ultimately lose to Randy Orton in the main event, alongside with Triple H. But with the Rumble in 2013, there was that bizarre Go Home Raw promo. I'm not sure if you remember that, leading into that Royal Rumble match, where John Cena was he kind of looked like in a daze. He was like pointing to the crowd and the signs that we're all going to the Rumble. It was a bizarre promo. I would recommend checking that back out. But he won this match to get another shot at The Rock after winning this match, which was funny because the story they were trying to tell was 2012 was the worst year of John Cena's career.
Yes.
And I looked at his win percentage for that year, and let me just say, it was not the worst year of his career.
I think they were pointing out other things. There was some personal things that went on that year too. I'm going to choose the second one. I'm going to choose the one that led to The Rock, because we had a money match with The Rock at WrestleMania to get the second in a lifetime. And I'm not going to lie, up until about 30 seconds ago, I had completely forgotten that was a three-way with Orton, Triple H, and Orton. So as far as significance, let's go with the one that brought us Cena Rock 2.
Okay, and now overall, what is your favorite John Cena Royal Rumble performance?
My favorite one is going to be the one that we were at. It's gonna be the one where he comes back miraculously in 3 months from his injury, and he wasn't there for a long time. He was just there for a good time, and got the win, and to the ovation of Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, with both of us in the crowd.
Yeah.
Not
knowing at the time, no. And I remember this is probably one of my favorite moments of any live show in history. My dad and I, we were walking back from the to go to the trains, and there was a giant mob of people just chanting "Cena sucks." Like they were just like so upset that John Cena won.
Yep.
Just one, like, because 2007 was his year. And then it's like, all right, we got a break from him.
Yep.
And then he's coming right back.
Yep, those New York fans, man. Whew.
Don't I know it,
Yeah.
being at World's End. But anyway, that was number 8 of the NoSo Royal Rumble's Performers Countdown. Now, you could catch Seth and I at Wrestling Retold and Relived with Richie Mars. Again, check out, we have a great episode on the wrestling family's Mount Rushmore. We debate the Hulk Hogan versus Roman Reigns championship runs, the pros, the cons of both. And we also talk about, if you're in the WrestleMania season, we also talk about The Undertaker and his legendary streak. And you could also catch me at Retold Richie Mars on TikTok. 3 to 5 videos a day of current wrestling, of past wrestling. You get all that content for free. So why wouldn't you check it out? But Mr. Sensational.
Richie, always a pleasure.
All right. We'll see you next time. Number 7 on the NoSo Royal Rumble Countdown.